So in this video, I'm going to be talking about this dinosaur illustration series that I started earlier this year. Going to be showing some speed draws of it and giving a little bit of backstory as to how I started this particular series. So for anybody who knows me in life, especially when I was younger, when I was a kid, my first dream job was to be a paleontologist. I was super embedded on that fact. Anything with dinosaurs or prehistoric creatures, I consumed, and it was my dream basically to be a part of that and to discover these creatures and learn more about them because I had already so much fun learning about them just with the facts that they know now. But to find even more information, I wanted to be a part of that. I can't remember the exact dinosaur, but I do have this very cringy story from when I was in the second grade. My teacher was giving out like these worksheets, and a dinosaur was labeled wrong, and I corrected her on it, like as a well, actually, kid. And at first, I remember she was very much like, "Yo, this is what the textbook told me, so you 7-year-old are wrong." And it nothing against her because I mean, listen, I if I had base level knowledge of anything, I would assume that a textbook would tell me right. But I remember I came into school the next day, and she literally, like, she made a very big spectacle out of it, and she was like, "I just want to say that Ava was correct," and she gave me a dinosaur sticker because of it, and that's still like embedded in my brain. But yeah, no, I love dinosaurs, and I will say that in terms of it being a dream career, it will always remain because I took anthropology class, which I know is obviously not the same thing as paleontology, but when you go into the science factor of, genetics, even regards to humans, I'm not sure if it's. I like honestly try to equate it into as if I was hearing about dinosaurs, and granted, all the ancestors of Homo sapiens, they have a background that goes into my interests, but for some reason, and ultimately this was what made me decide, like, I don't know if I could do this as a career. Not that it's necessarily what I wanted to go into at the time. I was very art based. I fell in love with art in middle school, and then I went to high school for it. I went to a specialized art high school, and yeah, the paleontology job became a dream, and it still is a dream, but it's still one that I hold dearly to my heart, knowing that I probably won't have the brain capacity to be an incredible scientist that would discover dinosaurs, but to be along the lines and appreciate the work that goes into finding these creatures. I'm all about the appreciation and the love and the preservation of it, which was why I had went back to school for museum studies for a master's for a while. One of the reasons too, because museum studies brings different loves and fixations, I guess, together. But going back into this series in particular, so as I had said, huge dinosaur fan, huge prehistoric beast fan, and I felt that my love for it started to come back last year when I went to the Natural History Museum in the city after many years. I will say I had this really cute tradition growing up because I was so into dinosaurs. My family supported that, and I had this tradition usually on my birthday. Every year we'd go to the Natural History Museum. It was usually my uncle that used to take me, and that was a huge highlight for me growing up because I still get chills walking through the halls. But I will say that when we went to the Natural History Museum last year, it had been quite a few years since I had went through it. And while there was a lot of things that I did remember, there were quite a few things that I didn't remember or that didn't completely jet out to me growing up as a kid, and that I'm relatively surprised with. And one of those things that jetted out to me during this visit was the Edmontosaurus fossil or mummy. And I don't know why I've I've been to, like, granted, again, I've been to that museum when I was a kid. I've been to that museum with friends growing up, in college and high school and whatnot. And this was the first time I felt like I was ever really taking notice of this mummy that's in there. And it's not, scientifically a mummy, but it is so, the fossil is so well preserved that you can see a lot of the skin textures for the dinosaurs. And this is actually not really the only fossil that has well preserved markings that are embedded from the original dinosaur's texture. There's a Notosaurus fossil that I think is within the same room, and you can see the texture of the backing of this creature, of like the armor and whatnot that this creature had on it. And it's, I don't know. I'm already like thinking about it and getting emotional. I wish dinosaurs were real. They are, but I wish they were real now. They're just so cool. They're so cool that they make me want to cry. But that's essentially what happened when I saw the Mantosaurus mummies. I had an emotional reaction, and since that visit, I've gone back quite a few times, and during some of those instances, it started as a ritual for me when I was going through a health scare at the start of this year. And it's my first real health scare. I'm 31, so it's the start of a new chapter in life where you have to be more vigilant of your health. But I was very nervous going into it, and I went to the museum in a way to escape from the thoughts that I had within my head, places that I didn't necessarily want to go. And in a way, coming to the museum and going with dinosaurs and whatnot, and just revisiting my love for paleontology and revisiting this place that made me so happy as a kid, it's almost that return to feeling untouchable. And I felt like that was something that I needed to have within my own self, to not only just fight back the mentality, but if there was other steps that I needed to go into, that, that to basically feel that there was more ahead of me. Because every time that I went to this museum, I would imagine new dinosaurs, or just wanting that for the future, wanting new dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures to be discovered, wanting to be a paleontologist and possibly, find these dinosaurs. There was just so many different facets of what I was feeling going into the museum, and rediscovering that love. And I felt like that's why I dipped back a lot into paleontology when I was going through my health scare. I was putting on these different dinosaur documentaries to cloud out everything, because I was like, listen, I don't really want to think about, scary things. I want to think about, the potentiality of like how cool these creatures are, and I want to find out more about them. I want to learn about them. So that is essentially where this series started. I wanted to draw dinosaurs, just happy dinosaurs being peaceful, looking peaceful, being happy and content. And that's what the start of the series Jovial Fossil came to be. That it started from me trying to find joy and contentment and love and happiness through experiencing this passion that I had as a kid, and returning to that innocence. And I am past that health scare. I'm fine, which is fantastic. I'm going through another trial of things, of change. I mean, as we all do, life is ever changing. But I feel like I go back to the series whenever I need back to that guidance. And that is essentially why I'm continuing it, and I plan on continuing it, but I would like to at least get maybe 12 or 13, probably 13, since 13 is my lucky number, illustrations of the first series of Jovial fossils. And the creatures that I am currently drawing on screen, these are some of my favorite prehistoric creatures, and I'm just going to say prehistoric creatures because Dimetrodon is there and he's technically not a dinosaur. I know that a lot of dino fans will probably come for me. He's not a dinosaur, even though he looks like one. He is actually a little bit closer to being a mammal than he is a dinosaur. It's its own separate genealogy. Anyways, that is the backstory for Jovial fossils. It's actually a series that I'm pretty happy with and proud of and love coming back to. And if you guys are interested, I'll be posting on my Instagram. I do want to try and make prints of these guys. I want to find out a way in which to properly display them. Apologies for the plane noises. I guess the flight pattern is over our apartment right now. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy, and I'll let you know if there's anybody that's interested in following through the series. I will probably make them accessible for everybody. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and hopefully catch you soon. Thank you.